Good morning, everybody. How are you? I don't know if anyone's joining me here this morning. It's 6:20 here in, or no, 6:20. It's 7 o'clock here in Michigan. That's the time I got up this morning, 6:20, which was actually 5:20 because we're on daylight, or we're off of daylight savings time. We're on daylight savings time. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we're on daylight savings time. This is Dr. Annette Feravich, and we are here for our early bird classroom. I even had some time to get on some makeup this morning so I didn't look like a scarecrow in front of you. Okay, so let's go ahead. What are we starting with? We are starting with the same thing we always start with now that we have a routine, right? Tuesday morning, first Tuesday that we have, day 3 of our online classroom. And so this is the early bird classroom, as you probably know. And we have been reading from the book Tales of Virtue. These are Bible stories is what they are. But Bible stories, no matter what you think, let's go ahead and take that down because we don't need that up there. Ooh, my light is on there. Have some really good messages in there for everybody. And so lots of people know the stories. And even if you don't know some of the stories, other ones are brand new and they can teach you some brand new lessons. So today we are reading a story on responsibility. And this is a story about Adam and Eve. And probably almost everybody has heard of Adam and Eve. But doesn't matter if you haven't. Doesn't even matter if you haven't. Let's go and see what they have to say about responsibility. And remember, I can tell because I remember they always tell me what the word means first. So the very first thing I think is that they're probably going to tell me what the word responsibility means. Do you kind of know what it means? Let's see. Okay. So, responsibility. Let me make sure you can see everything there. Responsibility means to take care of things God and others have given us. Oh, well, that makes sense, right? So that's a pretty easy way to explain responsibility. It means I take care of the things that I'm given, right? Whether or not they were given by a person or whether or not they were just given by God himself, right? Kind of like a mystery. Like sometimes I get things like for example, sometimes I go and I look for something, right? And I can't find it and I can't find it. And then all of a sudden I find it. Maybe that's when God takes care of something for me, right? Maybe that's when he does. I think so. I don't know what you think, but I think so. Okay, well, let's look this is a story about Adam and Eve. God made the very first man, and he named him Adam. Then he made a very beautiful garden. He called it Eden. Oh, well, that's a nice name for a garden, isn't it? I like that name. I'm trying to make a garden. I'm starting my plants right now. God said to Adam, "This garden will be your home." Oh, well, that's nice. I would like to live in a garden, wouldn't you? The garden was a wonderful place for Adam to live. Yeah, I would imagine. Gardens are beautiful, and it really looks very beautiful. Look at all the animals that are in the garden. There's a lion there. Look at the little fish. Look at that deer. He looks pretty happy, doesn't he? And look at that. Looks like a fox to me. That fox looks pretty happy too. Huh? Everybody looks pretty happy in the garden. And look at those animals in the garden. That's so nice. Everything that Adam needed to be happy was in the garden. It looks like it. There were rolling green fields. There was a clean, clear river. There were trees with tasty fruit. There were trees with colorful flowers. There were birds singing in the branches of the trees. There were animals playing everywhere. There was a lot of water to help the plants grow. That sounds like the planet's supposed to be, doesn't it? That sounds like just like Earth is supposed to be, with clean, clear water and tasty fruits that make us feel good. Oh my goodness gracious. That was called Eden. That sounds like a beautiful place to live, doesn't it? Adam said, God has made a very beautiful home for me. I'm happy living here. Oh, so it sounded like Adam appreciated where he lived. He liked the gifts that God gave him, didn't he? Huh. Well, he liked them. Let's see if he's going to take responsibility. That's such a big word, isn't it? Responsibility. Let's go on. Let's make sure I'm doing everything like I'm supposed to here. Okay. All right. God wanted Adam to do something very important. So God said, I want you to work the fields in this garden. Oh, so Adam kind of has to work too, doesn't he? Well, I'd imagine he would have to work to keep the garden looking nice, right? I want to take care of the river. I want to take care of everything in the garden that I have given you. No, this is God saying this. Hold on just a minute. So God said, I want you to work the fields in this garden. I want you to take care of the river. I want you to take care of everything in the garden that I have given you. Wow, that sounds like kind of a lot of work. It sounds like a lot of responsibility, doesn't it? Responsibility. That word has how many stops? Responsibility. Oh my gosh, that's the biggest word we talked about so far. That has 6 stops. Oh my gosh, that's a big word, isn't it? Responsibility. Need one more finger. T. 6 stops in that big word. Wow. Oh my gosh, look at Adam. He has a bird on his head. God knew that Adam was alone in the Garden of Eden. He had lots of fun with the birds and the animals. I would like to play with animals, especially if they were like big animals that I normally couldn't play with, right? I would like to do that. But Adam needed someone special to help him. Then God said, I will make a woman for Adam. He said, she can be his friend. She can be his wife. She can be his helper. Oh my gosh, that is so nice of God, isn't it? Because Adam was alone, and even though Adam likes animals, I mean, come on, that's pretty funny, a bird on his head, right? Even though Adam likes animals, he doesn't want to be alone without another person. And God made the first woman and named her Eve. Oh my gosh, that's such a nice name. And in fact, Eve means woman. I think it means woman. Woman and first woman and life. That's what it means. That's what it means. Life giver. The name Eve means giver of life. And of course she is, isn't she? She was considered the first mother. Adam and Eve worked together in the garden. They helped each other. They worked in the green fields. They took care of everything God had given them. Adam said, I am happy. Eve said, I am happy. God was happy too. That's so nice of God, isn't it, to want to make his children that he made happy. That was nice of God to want to make Adam and Eve happy, right? And look at all those wonderful things God made and gave them. Wouldn't it be awesome if that's the way that life really was? Wouldn't that be awesome? Look at, there's an octopus there. Look at that. They're all floating all over the top of the water like that. That's so cool. God has given you many things to enjoy. Yes. God has given you many things to enjoy. He wants you to take care of all the good things he has given you. That is responsibility. Okay, so that's our story for today on responsibility. And I don't think I ended up getting a song on responsibility. I tried to get one. There was one from Dolly Parton that was out there that was kind of a good song, but I didn't want to end up getting this deleted, so I'm not using her song. Some songs I can use and some songs I can't use. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the questions, because the very first thing that we want to do after we read anything is we want to think about it. what ends up happening in our brain is our brain works, and it makes like roads is what it does. Literally, our brain makes all these little roads inside of our head. And when we think about what we just read, what that does is it makes a whole bunch of roads is what it does in our brain. So we remember that information better. And so that's what we want to do. So if you have somebody else that you just heard the story with, or if you have somebody that you can trust and that you like, talk about the story, or your parents, or your grandparents, or your older sister, or your older brother, or somebody that can help talk about the story with you. If you don't have anybody who's up this morning because it's kind of early, you can think about it in your own head. All right, that will help too. Okay, so let's look at some questions that we have about this story on responsibility. Now remember, this is a book about right and wrong. In our story on responsibility, how is this a story about right and wrong? Oh, well, that's kind of a good question, isn't it? We always ask that question first, don't we? So we're asking the question, what was right? And last week we asked what was wrong, if you remember, because what was the story that we were reading last week? We were reading a story on, well, I might as well just look it up. I know we read a story on loyalty, but that was a forgiveness, right? We read a story on forgiveness. That's right. About Joseph and his brothers. That's what we read about on last Wednesday on day 1. That's what we read about, right? And we were talking about there were many things that Joseph's brothers did wrong, right? But I don't see anything wrong in this story. Do you? I don't see that there were a lot of things that they did wrong. In fact, it seemed like Adam and Eve did almost everything right, didn't they? So God made those things for them and they took care of them. And that was responsibility. That's what they said, when we take care of things. And so what did they do wrong? I didn't hear anything that they did wrong. I'm not saying that maybe they didn't do some things wrong later on, because we kind of heard that they did some things wrong later on. But in this story, it sounds like they did everything right, doesn't it? It sounds like they took care of the animals, they took care of the water, they took care of the garden, right? The garden that was called Eden, right? So it doesn't sound like that Adam and Eve did anything wrong, but the story does tell us a lot about the things that they did right, right? So responsibility sounds like it's doing things right, not wrong. Okay, let's look at our next question. What does it mean to be responsible? Well, I remember that, don't you? I mean, because the whole story was about them taking care of the garden, basically, and taking care of the animals and taking care of the water. So, responsibility means to take care of things, and especially things that are given to us, right? To take care of things. And so we want to remember that some things are expensive too. Like our phones are expensive. So we want to take care of our phones if you have a phone. Our computers are expensive. So we want to take care of our computers. We don't want to spill milk or cereal on our computers. And we want to keep our areas clean where our computers are. That would be taking care of things, wouldn't it? What else could we take care of and be responsible for? That things that are given to us. Well, we sleep in a bed, right? And we sleep in a bedroom usually. So to take responsibility would be then to take care of our rooms. Because we didn't buy those rooms. Did you buy your room? I bought my rooms. But did you buy your rooms? If you didn't buy your bedroom, then somebody gave you that bedroom, right? And the soft pillows that you sleep on and the clean sheets, somebody washed those sheets for you to make those sheets clean. That was somebody taking responsibility for you because you're a gift too. You're a gift. You're a gift to people, is what you are. So hopefully somebody's taking care of you. And taking responsibility sounds like it means I can take care of me too. That would be taking responsibility. That's what it sounds like to me, right? I could wash my face in the morning and take care of me. I can brush my teeth in the morning and take care of me. I could put on clean clothes in the morning and take care of me. Oh my gosh, that is so wonderful, isn't it? Because I think I'm kind of a gift to me. I kind of like me. I think I'm a gift to me. And you know what else? I think you're a gift to your parents. What do you think about that? So maybe that's why your parents take care of you. Okay, the next question. What kind of responsibilities were given to Adam and Eve? Well, we kind of already talked about that, didn't we? They were taking care of the water and keeping it clean. They were taking care of the animals. They were taking care of the garden. So there were a lot of things that they were responsible for, right? They had a lot of responsibilities. Boy, that's a big word, isn't it? Responsibilities. 6 stops. 6. There's 6. There we go. 6. 6 stops on that word. Big word. Okay, let's see what the next question was, because that was kind of easy. We've already talked about that one. Do you have responsibilities? How did you get your responsibilities? Oh, well, that's a good question, right? Because that's kind of what the story's about, isn't it? That we have to take responsibility as well, right? So, do you have responsibilities? And how did you get them? Did your parents give you responsibilities? Do you get responsibilities at school? I bet you do, right? You have to get up for school. You have to get dressed for school, right? If you're going to school, right? And even if you're coming here, even if you're coming to visit me here, well, you've got to be up and ready for the story if you're coming and visiting me here, right? So you have already, no matter how old you are, you already have lots of responsibilities, I bet. But even if somebody didn't give you responsibilities, you could take responsibility. Take responsibility? You mean somebody doesn't have to give you responsibilities? You can take responsibility? Well, if you get up in the morning and make your bed, you took responsibility. If you get up in the morning and brush your teeth before anybody says anything to you, you took responsibility because you're taking care of who? You're taking care of yourself. That's what you're doing. I wish I had more pictures for you. I actually do have some cute pictures. Let me show you. We're going to do the ABCs too. Oh, we're not going to show you that right now. We're going to finish this lesson because we have other things to talk about too. All right, so what's the next question? What do you think happens when you are responsible? What do you think happens when you are responsible? So just take a minute to think about that. Well, what happens when I'm responsible? Well, I know I get clean when I'm responsible because I get clean teeth and I get a clean face when I'm responsible, right? And that makes me feel good. So it makes me feel good when I'm responsible, right? And sometimes when I was little, not only sometimes, I had chores every day when I was little, chores. So we had to sweep the kitchen, or we had to do the dishes, or we had to clean our room, although we didn't have to clean our room that often. We had to do other things around the house to take responsibility. And so I remember not liking to take responsibility. That's what I remember, right? Because sometimes it's work. I mean, in the story, they said it was work, didn't they? They were saying that taking responsibility was work. They had to do work to take care of the garden. So sometimes responsibility isn't always easy, is it? But how do I feel after I take responsibility? That's the question. How do I feel after I take responsibility? And I know something. I know I feel really good. Like this class that I'm teaching right now, right? Nobody told me to teach this class, but I took responsibility because a lot of people are arguing about what they're learning. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll put something out there that I think is good for you to learn. So I took responsibility, and I know how that made me feel. I know it makes me feel good. It makes me feel tired sometimes, though, doesn't it? I think taking responsibility sometimes makes me feel tired because I had to get up early this morning, and I went to bed late last night. So that's a lot of responsibility, getting up when I'm tired. So sometimes taking responsibility kind of makes me tired a little bit, right? But it makes me feel good when I have a clean bedroom and I go like that to my teeth. It makes me feel good when I have clean teeth. I like that, right? It makes me feel good when I smell good, right? After I wash, that makes me feel good. So it seems to me like sometimes I don't like responsibility, but after I take responsibility, it seems to me that it makes me feel good. Do you ever take responsibility? And does it make you feel good? I wonder. Maybe you can talk about that with a friend. Maybe you could find out from a friend what responsibilities that friend has, right? And then maybe you can find out how that friend feels after they take responsibility. I think that would be kind of cool if you did that. Because that's such a big word, isn't it? Maybe you can impress all your friends. I take responsibility. Do you take responsibility? I do. Okay, let's see what's next here. Okay, so I put together an ABC video for you because we're also going to be learning our alphabet and trying to learn some other things. So with our stories, we're going to be trying to learn other things as well. And so I have got an ABC song that I put together for you. Let's see. Cross your fingers. Sorry about that. The song's over it. I was listening to the song so that I could get back on here with you, and I was watching to see if the video was over, and it's already over. I don't know how long the video's been over. Okay. So that was the song I put together with the video. So ABC. So I finally got a rock song for you, but I can't hear it when it's playing for you, so it's hard for me to sing since it's all over with. I hope you like that song though. So find the ABC song and let's talk a little bit about our ABCs. All right? So look for that song. I put that song together. I put the video together. Greg and Steve put the song together for us. So there are our ABCs. Let me make sure I've got everything all set over here for you, okay? And let me look over here. Okay, Xfinity, how come I'm not getting my signal again? We need a better signal. Okay, so here is our alphabet, and we have 26 letters in our alphabet. All right, so that's kind of a good thing to remember as well. How many letters are in our alphabet? 26 letters are in our alphabet. And when you're singing the song, you can count those, right? If you want to, you can count them yourself. Okay. Now, these letters are divided up into what we call consonants and vowels. Consonants and vowels. Those are big words, all right? But we're going to talk about what vowels are and what are consonants, all right? And this, why do we want to know this? Why do we have to know such big words when we're talking about our ABCs? Well, it helps us spell words and it helps us read words. So that's the reason why we want to know our alphabet. It helps us when we're reading. Okay, so keep singing that song because remember what I said to you. When we put things to music like our ABCs, A, B, C, A, B, C, D, E, F. I don't know, I can't see. I told you in the morning, I have to try and sing with you because I'm a teacher and teachers are supposed to sing with kids. But it's really hard to sing by yourself when you don't have a classroom with kids. So I'm trying for you. I'm making an effort for you. Okay. So we have consonants. Those are some of the letters. And we have vowels. Let's take a look at those. So what I did was I put an X through the vowels because there are only 5 vowels, although sometimes there's 6. Let's look at it. So A is a vowel. E is a vowel. I is a vowel. O is a vowel. And U is a vowel. So there are all of our vowels. And if we took out our vowels, we would be left with what is called consonants. These are our consonants. Okay, so we know we have 5 vowels. Sometimes we have 6. We'll talk about that in a minute. And the rest of those letters are consonants. So that would be 21 consonants, right? Because if I have 26 letters and I have 5 vowels, 26 minus 5 is 21. Okay, some of you might know that math, some of you don't, but that's okay because we're talking about consonants and vowels. So 5 vowels, sometimes 6, and the rest are consonants. All right, well, let's see what else we've got going on here with our consonants. So I have this worksheet here for you then, and what we know about consonants is this. Consonants tend to say their own name. What do those letters sound like? They sound like their own name. So the very first letter up there is B. 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 B sounds like its own name. So when we make the B sound, it sounds like B, B, B. That's what it sounds like. The D sounds like, I'm going to jump to D because C is a little funny. D sounds like D, 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 D. And C sometimes sounds like S, S, but sometimes C sounds like K. So that's kind of a funny consonant a little bit. Let's go to some easy consonants. Okay, let's go to P, 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 T, 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 T. Can you think of a word that has the T, T sound? T, T, T. Can you think of a word that has a T sound? T. I can think of T, T, table. T, that sounds like it. Does table begin with a T? T, table? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Do you see how those letters sound like their own name? Let's go back to D. D, 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 D. What does that sound like? Can you think of a word? D, D. That starts with that sound D, D. I can think of one. Dog. My dog Lucy, dog. That starts with the D, D sound. So you know what dog starts with. Dog starts with D. Dog starts with D, D. How about let's try something. Let's try a different one. N, 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 N makes the N sound. Can you think of a word that sounds like N, 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 N? I can think of Nancy. Nancy. That comes to my mind, Nancy. Can you think of another one? N. No. How about no? No, I can't think of another one. No. No. No starts with N. Look at that. Look at that. You are learning how to spell. That's what you're doing. You're learning how to spell. How? Because you're listening to the first sound. How about S? S. S. What starts with the S sound? I can think of one. Snake. That comes to my mind when I hear snake. That comes to my mind. How about W? W. Oh, that's a tough one, isn't it? W. I don't know anything that starts with W. You're right. That one's a tough one. W makes the W. Double. Like that. W. Double. W. Double makes the W sound. W sound. Did you hear anything in this story that made a W sound? W. Do you know a word that begins with W? Water. That's what I'm thinking of. Water, which is what I didn't bring here, is water. Okay, we are making progress. Do you remember what those are called when we don't have any vowels? What are those called? No vowels? Our no vowel alphabet? Consonants. 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 I'll put up those words when we come back on Wednesday, tomorrow at 7 o'clock a.m. We're not done yet, though. All right. So consonants are not vowels, right? So we know that. Okay. Now, here's a worksheet, and I'll be putting this worksheet up for you too as well. So look for you can find these on LinkedIn. I'll put them on LinkedIn. They're not up on my website yet. So on LinkedIn, you can find them. And these will be, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not, but these will be up there for you so that you can find, or you can email me as well. So if you don't know where these are and you're hoping to find them, you can ask your mom and dad if they can send me an email, and I will find those for you. I will get those to you. So there's my email address, Dr. Dr. period Feravich at healthymindbodyspirit.net. So that's my email address, and you can email me and ask me, and I will send you those worksheets for you so that you can do these worksheets. But I will also have them other places. Let me know if you can't find them though, okay? I probably will have them underneath the video is what I should do, right? I'm still getting used to some of this stuff. Okay, so there on the right-hand side, you have pictures. And those pictures begin with a letter. Of course they do. They're words. Even if they're pictures, they're still word. Carrot is a word, right? Igloo is a word. Grass is a word. Apple is a word. Okay, and so those have a beginning sound. Each one of those pictures are words that have a beginning sound. Of course they have a beginning sound. They have to have we can't say a word without a sound. That seems silly, right? That would be silly to say a word without a sound. What? Is that our word? So each one of those pictures is also a word, and each one of those words starts with a letter. Each one of those words could start with a vowel or with a consonant, though. So we've got vowels up there too, but we only learned how to say consonants so far. So we better learn about vowels as well. So what you want to do is you want to ask somebody to print those sheets off for you, and then you can cut out the picture and put the picture on the right letter that it starts with. So we can do, I'll do truck because that one's kind of easy. So truck, there's a picture of a truck there. Truck. What do you think truck begins with? What's the first letter in the word truck? Truck. Truck. What do you think it is? And then you take that picture and you paste it in the letter that it starts with there. So the letter on the left, you paste that picture in the right box. Okay? So that will give you a little activity to help you with your first starting out to read. You're learning how to sound out words. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting to be so young and learn how to read? I think that is the most exciting thing. You know why? I have all kinds of books. I have walls and walls of books. Do you know why? Because when I get bored, I like to read, and I pull a book off the shelf, and sometimes it's got great pictures and sometimes it's got great stories, but it lets me go someplace else in my mind when I read. So learning how to read is so exciting because almost all of the information that we get from reading, almost all of it. We get it from talking too. But if we're big readers, what did I have to do in school? Since I started school, what's the very first thing you do? You learn how to read. Why? Because that's where we get all of our information from. We get it from books. Look at how thick this book is over here. Look at how fat this book is over here. That's a fat book. That's got a lot of information in that book. It's a big fat book. If I read this book, and I did, by the way, if I read that book, I would have a lot of information, wouldn't I? Okay, all right. So, some people don't like that book. Let's take a look at our vowels. So there are our vowels. So we X'd out 5 letters, and those are the 5 letters that we X'd out. Those are the 5 letters that are not consonants. So what do? We memorize our vowels is what we do. You can put up to music if you want in your head, but how do we know what our vowels are? We have to memorize them. A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U. That's how we memorize them. When you're little, you memorize your vowels. That's what you do. You put them in memory. A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U, A-E-I-O-U. And that's what you want to do. You want to run around the house all day long. Try not to annoy your family. And say A-E-I-O-U. A-E-I-O-U. Those are your vowels. Now, we have a few more minutes, so we're going to learn a little bit more. We know how consonants sound. They say their own name. T sounds like T, truck, right? So consonants say their own name. I wonder if vowels do. A, E, I, O, U. Do you hear letters? Do you hear words? A as in what? 8? Oh. What does 8 start with? 8. As in I ate food, not the number 8, okay? Some things are different. I know, it gets confusing. But let's keep it simple right now. I ate dinner last night. What does 8 start with? A. It does. It does start with A. 8. I ate last night does start with A. If you guessed that, give yourself a clap. That is good. What does eat start with? Eat. Oh, I bet you already know that, don't you? What does eat start with? Eat. It starts with an E. Of course it does. I am hungry. What does I start with? It's only one letter. That word you already know how to spell. How do you spell I? I am hungry. I. That's how you spell I. Oh my gosh. You already know how to spell a word. I am hungry. How do you spell I? I. How about that? So look at that. You are learning how to spell, and it's not even that hard. What you have to do to learn how to spell is you have to know how letters sound. That's what you have to know. There's 26 letters in our English language, 26 letters in the alphabet. 21 of those letters say their own name, and so do the vowels most of the time. So spelling actually isn't really that hard. It's not that hard to spell a word right. It's not. We're going to learn how to spell correctly. How about that? And let me tell you something. You look pretty dumb if you're an adult and you don't know how to spell easy words, especially words that you can sound out. Pat, at. How about bake? How about that? Not pat. Let's do bake. B-A-K. B-A-K. What does that sound like? B-A-K. B. That sounds like a B. That sounds like a B to me. A. Well, that's an A. I just said it. I already said it, right? A. K. 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 That sounds like a K. A. K. B-A-K. There's a secret to that word, though. That's not how you spell bake, but it's close. But you're close. B is the what it starts with. The next letter is A, and the next letter is K. But we have a rule to learn. We're going to learn a rule about bake, and we're done. So that's all that I have. I got to get to my next class. So hopefully you will sing that ABC song, and that is how we will leave you, is with the ABC song again. Okay, tomorrow, 7 a.m., don't forget to join me. That's not the ABC song.